Hello, everyone. This is Tom Anderson coming to you from my bunker, otherwise known as my basement. Thank you for inviting me, Alfred Music. Have enjoyed the morning sessions, and I learned a few things just by watching Andy Beck with his Kodai hand signs and the movable law and the reading sessions, and I'll hope to watch the other ones when I see the recordings. Non-singing activities for the elementary classroom. Well, let me start out by saying, of course, singing is very important. It's probably most of what you're going to be doing as an elementary teacher, and I've done it as a career. Matter of fact, I have a DMA in choral conducting. So I'm not poo-pooing singing at all. However, there are some other things that you can do with your students that might capture them and connect them with music. Quick story about myself. Tommy Anderson, the music student, took piano lessons for 3 years, never really connected with that at the time. In junior high, I figured out how to play the piano in a different way and love playing the piano now. And I think I'm more of a kinesthetic learner because I kind of need a hands-on approach to learning music and experiencing music. One of the reasons I feel comfortable being in a basement for making music is when I was in about 7th grade or so, I would take a coffee can. Remember those, if you're old enough? They used to have ground coffee in coffee cans like Maxwell House and so forth. And when it was empty, there was a plastic cover on a coffee can. I would put marbles in it. And we had another thing that was kind of convenient for me. It was a game called Carom, and it's a wooden board, and it's kind of like playing billiards with round plastic discs. And our version of Carom had some, about 16-inch sticks that looked like pool cues, and I would use those as my drumsticks. So I had this coffee can, marbles in it, turn on the radio, and just bang away on this drum, as it were. Probably had a cardboard box as well, and so I had my bass drum sound, had the snare drum sound, and played along with the pop music of the 1960s. And that's really when I was starting to connect with music. So anyway, I know as a young person that doing singing was fine, wasn't really my thing that much, but playing the drums and eventually buying my own drum set and learning how to play drums just that much better, hopefully, has been really fun. Most of my session is going to be a video. I want to thank my friend Dave Vartanian, who helped me produce the video. There are 3 lessons in it, about 10 minutes each, I'd say. One is called chair drumming, where you have a coordination exercise that you do with your kids. Second one is going to be bucket drumming, very similar to the coffee can idea. And the third one is going to be about boomwhackers. So enjoy this video, and when it's done, I'll be sure to wrap it up a little bit and maybe take some of your questions. So here's a demonstration for non-singing activities in the music classroom. Hi, this is Tom Anderson. Welcome to non-singing activities for the elementary classroom. Now we're going to cover 3 things in this webinar, and the first thing we're going to do is called chair drumming. It sounds kind of odd, doesn't it? But all you really need to do this exercise is a chair, because it's a coordination exercise where you're using 4 of your limbs. Eventually, we're going to do it on a drum set, but for right now, let's just do it at the chair. The first thing we're going to work on is coordination. Ultimately, we're going to try to use all 4 of our limbs and transfer it to the drum set. The first thing we'll do, let's call it level 1, is to be able to tap your foot to the beat, just keeping a nice steady rhythm. I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to add my right hand playing 1/8 notes on my right knee. Just like that. As a teacher, I've presented this lesson to many students of various ages, and I can tell you this, if they can get the foot beat happening and the 1/8 notes with their right foot, that's the hardest spot. One thing that I do to kind of help them, if you want to, is I say, look at the motion of your foot. Your foot is going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, making a quarter note sound. With my hand, I'm going to go down, up, 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 down, up. That way, you're not getting involved with counting. It's just a coordination exercise. So, we're going to be adding things as this lesson goes on. Level 1, foot. Level 2, add right hand. Let's go for level 3, where I add my left hand on beats 2 and 4. And really, you could stop the lesson right there, because that's enough sounds to go to the drum set and play all 3 things at the same time. But what would level 4 be? It would be adding my left foot with my left hand. So level 1, keep that going. Level 2, level 3, here's level 4, all at the same time. This is what you're going to try your students to be able to do. And stop. There's also a bonus level, if you want to call it that, where you do all 4 things at the same time, starting together. It looks like this. If your students are able to do that, bring in a drum set and have them do it on an actual instrument. Now we're ready to do all of those rhythms on the drum set. Again, I would do it 1 level at a time, starting with level 1, the bass drum. Level 2, adding the right hand to the bass drum on the ride cymbal. Level 3, beats 2 and 4 on the snare drum. Level 4, adding beats 2 and 4 on the hi-hat with all the other things at the same time. Ultimately, the bonus level, where you do all 4 things at the same time, starting together. What's fun about playing the drums and music in general is that it's a lifelong journey. This is just the beginning. You can do these things and you'd be a pretty good drummer and you'd be asked to play in different groups. But how about if we change things up a little bit? For instance, instead of playing the ride cymbal, I'm going to switch over and play the hi-hat and keep the hi-hat closed, and you get this sound. Same rhythm, just a different combination. How about this? I'll start on the ride cymbal and then go over to the hi-hat.
That's just the beginning of your journey. How about if I change up the bass drum rhythm and keep the hands the same, the hi-hat the same? Sounds like this. How about this? Different rhythms on the bass drum, different rhythms on the snare drum, eighth notes on the hi-hat. Let the journey begin. Hi, Tom Anderson here. Today we're going to be talking about bucket drumming. And of course, the first thing you're going to need is a bucket. Here's a 5-gallon plastic bucket that you can buy in a hardware store, or maybe even the lunchroom if you clean them up. And as you can see, I took the handle off of the bucket, so it's much more of a musical instrument. You're going to be hitting the bottom of the bucket, and you place it on the ground like so, in between your feet. So what do you hit it with? Well, one option is a dowel. Here are some 1/2-inch dowels that are cut to 16 inches, similar to a drumstick. They'd be okay. You can do it with air drumming. You can hit the bucket with it, but to be honest, I'd go for an actual drumstick. Here's a wooden drumstick with a wooden tip. Some drumsticks have plastic tips. I wouldn't recommend that because they might fly off. So, drumstick with a wooden tip and you're set to go. There are basically 3 types of sounds that you're going to teach your students. Of course, you could hit the ground, you can hit the side of the bucket and so forth, but these are the 3 sounds that most bucket drummers use. The first one is to hit the top of the bucket like so. I'd get your students used to doing a right, left motion, much more like drumming, like this. Eventually, you're going to challenge them to see how quickly they can go right, left, right, left, right, left. I'll do my best. Not too bad. The next sound is to hit the rim. Could be called a rim shot. So you hit it kind of along the shoulder of the stick on the rim of the bucket, like so. I can combine that with hitting it on the top of the bucket with the rim shot, and you get this sound. The third sound is called a bass tone. This takes a little coordination because you're going to put the bucket in between your feet and lift up one side, and I like to hit it with the fat end of the stick so it gets a nice beefy sound. Bass tone. If I don't lift it up, it sounds like this. It's okay, but not as confident as this. So those are the 3 sounds. Here's a rhythm I'd recommend teaching your students after they learn those 3 sounds. I think you'll recognize it from a pop song from about the 1970s. And now you're ready to play the bucket. Bucket drumming is really fun. There's all kinds of things that you can do. You can just have your students play buckets and different rhythms, and maybe one segment of the students play one segment, another segment of the students play another rhythm, and that's all it has to be. But what's really fun is if you can play along with music. There's a book called Bucket Classics where you're playing along to classical music on the buckets. There's all kinds of things in this book. How to play the bucket, as I just described. There are lesson plans. There are different rhythms to introduce. There are even scores that you can have if you want. But this first experiment with playing along with the tracks, I would do as a rote lesson. Don't have to worry about reading music at all. There's basically two sounds you're going to introduce for this play along. That's called Also Sprach Zarathustra. Probably best known as the beginning of the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. Here's the first thing you're going to have the students learn how to play. It's called a roll. Probably the easiest one is called a single stroke roll, where you're going back and forth, right, left, right, left. I showed you that before. And probably the contest for the students would be start out slowly and then how fast can you go? Like this. It's about as fast as I can go. Now, if you'd have a group of students doing that, that would be a nice big sounding roll. There's another roll that's called a press roll. Now, for all you percussionists out there, please forgive me. I know just enough to get into trouble, but that first one's called a single stroke roll. This is called a press roll that you could show your students, where you're pressing the stick against the edge of the drum. I'll do the best I can. Here's a press roll. So when I play along with the track, you might be seeing me do two things: a single stroke roll and a press roll. Your band director is going to love you for introducing those concepts to your students. So that's the one sound you're going to get. The other one is the bass tone, where you pick up the bucket like so. I'm going to flip my sticks over and get this sound for the bass tone on this play along. If I don't have time to flip over the sticks, it sounds like this. I'd divide your students into two groups: the rollers, if you want to call them, and the bass tones. And they're going to either be doing this or this. Now let's play along with the track. The next instrument we're going to be talking about for non-singing activities in the music classroom are boomwhackers. These are plastic tubes in various lengths, very colorful. They sound like this. Now you could be thinking to yourself, that kind of looks like a toy. Why don't you experiment with your students and find the sweet spot so it sounds more like a musical instrument? Hit it in various places. I think it sounds best about right here. Nice full sound. Now, you can see you can hit it on your hand. You can also hit it on the floor. You can hit it on your knee. Eventually, we're going to hit this on a table. You can play more than one boomwhacker at a time. Sounds like this. That's hitting them together. How about alternating? Now, if your students know a little bit about classical music or can name a soundtrack, see if they can name this tune. You might have to hum along for them to name it. Da, 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 da. Also sprach Zarathustra, used in the soundtrack of 2001, A Space Odyssey. Now we're going to play along with a pop song called Eye of the Tiger. What's cool about pop music is that it's repetitive, it's rhythmic, and it's recognizable. You hear these songs at sporting events, at concerts, of course, on TV shows. They're all over the place. The song we're going to be doing is called Eye of the Tiger. It comes from a book called Boomwhacker Pop. Now, in the book are the scores for the teacher to see, lesson plans, and some ideas about how to play the boomwhackers. There's even a background on each of the songs. There are 8 songs in the book. I'm kind of old school, so I like to print out my music, which you're able to do with PDFs. Since these are boomwhackers, there are also colored PDFs. You can project them on a smartboard, or if you have a colored printer, print them out for your students. So I'll be looking at these parts that I printed from PDFs. The way I'd suggest setting up your boomwhackers are like a xylophone. So the lower notes are to the left, upper notes to the right. That way the students are used to playing it just like they'd play on a xylophone. So I've got an F, I have a G, I have an A. In this case, I'm going to be playing them on the table. Sounds like this. The editor of this book, Jack Zano, came up with a really cool idea. He told you what notes could be played by how many students. You can divvy them up. Challenge your students, though, and try to have them play one part at a time, like I'm going to do today. So here's Eye of the Tiger from Boomwhacker Pop.
Just a man and his will to survive. So many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival.
And there you have it. Three possibilities. No singing involved. I did want to mention, and I didn't on the video, which I should have done for this Boomwhack Pop book, there are three versions that are recorded. There's a full version where there's singing, boomwhackers in the background. There's the version that you just heard where there's a professional, very good sounding singer, the background with no boomwhackers. And then there's a third version where it's just the background instruments, sounded like recording. That way you can have the kids sing and play boomwhackers at the same time. Great for a concert idea. Kind of want to wrap this session up with a quick story that kind of hit me last night. When I was 42 years old, I bought my first drum set. And as you can see, I was always interested in the coordination of playing the drums, but until you actually get one and practice and take lessons, you don't learn everything you need to know. So now, when I go out to perform, mainly I'm playing percussion and drums. Well, I had a gig last night with an Irish band here in Milwaukee called Paddy Grass. And it was a corporate gig where it's kind of a mixer where they are, talking and which is fine. So we're kind of in the background. And it just kind of hit me that here I am all these years later, sitting on a cajon, playing my djembe, playing hand percussion, putting it all together in an Irish band. And that's how I really connect with music. I do some singing, I do the background parts. I was always more of a Pip than Gladys Knight. I was always in the background doing the choreography in ruffled shirts, and I still have that role in our Irish band, but happy to do it. So I'm the Pip to our leaders, Gladys Knight. So anyway, there are some ideas for your classroom, and good luck with this school year and enjoy your students.
Thank you so much, Tom. We actually have a few questions that have come from the chat that I did want your opinion on. Oh yes, the headphones, the
Oh,
headphones,
yes.
yes. We actually have some questions from the chat that I would
All
love your
right.
answer on.
Okay.
So one came from the beginning of the video. What age would you teach chair drumming to?
I've done it with as young of people as fourth graders all the way up into high school. Adults can do it. I mean, it's the same concept. It really is. And what I just want to share with people is that you don't need a drum set. I always tried to bring out a drum set from the band room or whatever, or borrow one if I had to, because that's really what you want to do. But the actual coordination exercise, anybody can do it, probably starting in about the fourth grade.
That's wonderful. And second question, what if you do not have a drum set in your room? How to level this up so everyone can try an instrument or implement the skill?
That's a very good question. I lived that life, and I usually taught in a school that had a band room. I started as a junior high teacher, and so I would ask the band director, "May I borrow the drum set for Friday or whatever?" The other thing you can do, and I do this, kind of made a career out of doing this, is that you can get sounds of percussion instruments that sound similar to a drum set. So you'll assign one group of students to do the low drums for bass drum, tambourine for the snare drum, shaker for the hi-hat, and so forth. And then you put all the kids together. It's not exactly the same, but it's always good to have some sort of a payoff where you're actually using instruments.
Um, how many boomwhackers per student is ideal?
Oh boy, that's a good question. We try to come up with at least one per student and two if possible. And like I say in the book that the editor Jack came up with, he divided the students into how many instruments are needed, how many students are needed. And as you saw, the challenge is it's almost like playing handbells. I play percussion for a handbell group that's very good here in Milwaukee. And it's amazing to watch what they're able to do with their tables and switching handbells and so forth. And ultimately, I would challenge the student to play one part, one student. And that could be in the classroom or for a performance.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Again, let us know if there's any more questions. I know we're like, this was a breeze. We're already through the material, but like, is there any other closing words that you would like to give the audience?
Just thank you very much. Thank you to Alfred, Krista Hart, and the team there at Alfred is doing such a good job. All the background folks who do the technical work, and more power to you. And I taught for 20 years, so I know usually in the Midwest, I grew up in North Dakota, we would start after Labor Day. So it always surprises me when people are starting in August or already, and it's like, are you kidding me? So anyway, if you've started, good luck. If not, just greet your students and have fun with them.